What's the difference between you and Rocket Mortgage?
Okay, hands down, white glove service. And I don't want to sound cliche, but I'll give you an example. I had an agent from our office actually pop in a couple weeks ago to my office. And he said, do you offer such and such loan? And I said, at this time, we don't, because it's not beneficial for us to carry that loan. He goes, well, I have another lender who's like the Walmart of loan products. And I go, I'm not Walmart. Even though Walmart is fantastic, I'm not Walmart.
Welcome to Tampa Bay Unlocked, the podcast where we dive into the dynamic world of real estate and business in the vibrant Tampa Bay area. Join us as we sit down with top agents and industry leaders who share their insights, stories, and strategies of success. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, our interviews will unlock the secrets of thriving in one of Florida's hottest markets. Get ready to be inspired and informed and motivated by one of the experts shaping the future of Tampa Bay. I have Pam Paulson, our loan originator with Keller Home Loans here at KW St. Pete. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. All things, you're the great Keller Homes loan originator here in the office.
Well, thank you. The great.
The great. Yeah. Well, you know, we know that those who come to the sales meetings are my favorite, and
thank you. I do try to show up.
You do show up.
Every day.
You do show up. So let's dive into the history of how you ended up here.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Yes.
It's been a road, but
Yes.
I'm going to give you the Reader's Digest condensed
Yeah,
version.
that's fair. So
Okay.
where does this journey start?
All right. It started, my formative, like my foundation is my teaching background. So went to college, got my teaching degree, and found myself as a single parent, so raising my two young kids at the time. So that, being a teacher, was, at that time, was...
What were you teaching?
So I started teaching high school English.
Okay.
But being so young out of college, I just wasn't connecting. So
Yeah, because you're like the same age as them almost, right?
pretty much. So, and I think the thing that I found it most frustrating, I wasn't reaching every student. If you recall being in high school, a lot of those students didn't want to be there.
Yep.
So I then decided I wanted to teach special needs. So I wasn't certified as a special needs instructor, so I was more of an aide.
Okay.
And so in order to have my own class, I would have to go back to school, and I didn't want to do that at the time. It was too difficult already juggling the kids and everything else.
Right.
So it was very enriching, wonderful experience, but where I landed was teaching second grade at a charter school, which was run like a private school. So smaller class sizes, they wore uniforms. I mean, it was just very, formal, but informal.
Big difference from the high school students.
Yes. And so, and it was perfect because the ages of my kids, they were at the same school where I was teaching, so they could, check in. My daughter actually was in my class as a second grader, so those are memories that will last a lifetime.
That's really cool.
Yes. So when I started teaching, I was making, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
$29,000 a year.
Woo,
So you
ballin'.
break it down. Break it down. Now this was a while ago.
Yeah, but not that long ago,
Well, so you break it down. I mean, that was like before taxes, maybe $2,400 a month.
Right.
Okay. So what I ended up having to do was supplement my income. I was working 2-3 side jobs. And so let's forward 5 years. I'm like, this is taking so much time away from my kids, my family, that it didn't make sense anymore. And so I decided, what's the next step? I've got to do something else. Although I loved and so passionate about teaching, I knew it was time to move on. So I decided to get into the dental industry as a manager. And that kind of facilitated, a role that was, which led itself to doing continuing education. So again, I'm tapping into my teaching.
Exactly. Yeah,
so I was creating manuals online and actual, pamphlets.
So now were you doing that full time and not teaching?
And not teaching
Okay,
anymore.
got it.
So I left the teaching industry.
Yep.
And so now I'm running multiple offices within the dental industry, and then which led itself into the continuing education piece where I'm teaching dentists, hygienists, dental assistants, the continuing education, but then I hit my ceiling. So I did that for many, many years. And then the money, although the money was good, which was freeing up my time so I could spend with my kids. Now, keep in mind, kids are expensive.
Right.
And so son wanted to play ice hockey. We're in Colorado. So, daughter's doing the competitive cheer. All of those, take money. Money was good. Time was better. But then, boom, there was nowhere for me to go.
You hit the ceiling.
I did.
Okay.
So fast forward to about 2015, I got into the credit industry, into sales, essentially. Mm-hmm. So what did that entail? So still in Colorado, now all of a sudden, I'm a regional director. I have a specific territory. There's 11 states. And I'm now traveling every week, living out of a suitcase. Mm-hmm. Basically, the hotel becomes my home. My kids are now out of high school. They're in college. So, again, I've got more time.
Yep,
mm-hmm.
You're empty nester.
Yes. So, but it makes it very challenging because the relationships that I develop with friends, dating life, just became non-existent.
Right, because you're on the road.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I wasn't
But what
present.
were you doing? So you're in the credit world. What,
Mm-hmm.
what does that mean? So why are you traveling? Who are you seeing? Who are you helping? Who are you teaching?
I am teaching agents and mortgage loan officers about the truth about the credit industry. So essentially, a lot of people are unaware, consumers are unaware of the erroneous information, false information that are on credit reports. So I am a FICO credit expert, so I would go out and literally break it down. So it's teaching, it's giving that information to make you and the loan officers more powerful and helping those clients, customers that want to purchase homes, but they're not ready yet, even though you're not teaching them how to improve their credit. That's, my job at the time. And loan officers, we have the tools and the systems that can help, a path to get them on the right.
So what are some big misconceptions or things in that time that you found with the credit score? Educate us.
Okay. So collections, charge-offs, those derogatory items, accounts that are on a consumer's credit report don't magically go away. A lot of people think that after that 7-year time frame, that's just going to drop off. But what many people don't understand is these collection companies, they will package up, they'll resell the old debt essentially. And when they resell it to another collection company, it restarts. Yes. And so the date of last activity is what is so impactful. What because I have a trained eye in looking at credit reports, look at. It's how old that trade line is. So sometimes consumers will say, well, it's a $38 collection. I'm just going to pay it and get rid of it. Well, guess what? If it's 2 years old or 5 years old and somebody repays that, it refreshes the date of last activity. So it's not that $38 collection went to zero because it's been paid. It now restarts that time clock. And
the credit world's crazy.
It is crazy. It doesn't make sense. Like when you think you're doing something to help improve, you're actually doing something that could be more detrimental.
And who made up that system? I think about that sometimes. And back when I was in the military, I signed up for this stupid card. I don't even remember what it was, and it dinged a lot of my friends. It got us because after so much time. And we had moved so often. And so if we weren't getting the mail, we didn't know. And this card, after a year or so, charged us a $6 renewal fee. And a lot of us didn't pay it.
Right.
And then I remember I went to the bank to get a car, and they said, well, your credit score dropped. I'm like, what? For what? They're like, well, you have this something for this card.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know what card that is.
Yes.
And I went and figured it out over $6.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I didn't even know.
Nope.
Oh,
and
I was
why this is not taught in school is beyond me.
Yeah. The FICO thing is kind of crazy.
It is. It's a fair Isaac. But essentially, what the credit report is, the scoring model, is to obviously assess a consumer's risk or credit worthiness. So there's 5 key components. It's payment history. How long have you been paying on time? It's amounts owed. Where are those credit card balances? It's length of credit history. So if you open up a new credit card, guess what? Now your credit score drops, maybe temporarily, because now it's an average of all open active accounts.
But it could also be better if it added more available credit to your...
It could.
Right? Because there's like a threshold when they want to know how much available credit you have.
Yeah.
Even though you're not using it, they just like to know that you have it there.
Correct.
Right? It's like, can you be responsible with it?
That's it, exactly. Right? And then, of course, sometimes if we see too many inquiries, now I'm speaking as a loan officer. Too many inquiries can be a red flag for lending purposes because it's like, ooh, is this person in trouble? And they're trying to get, they're extending their credit. And then I just said credit inquiries, mix of credit. So installment, basically there's two types of credit. Installment, which are like student loans, your mortgage, auto loans, and then, of course, revolving, which are credit cards.
I think I know the answer to this, but isn't it true that a mortgage can actually improve your credit?
Absolutely. I mean, as long as you're paying on time.
Yeah. Why do I feel like that was a thing I saw? Or maybe before, I feel like that was a thing. Maybe because the FICO score is looking like you've been underwritten and qualified for that.
I don't think that
I'm
per
shooting from the
se
hip.
is okay. So
I'm shooting from the hip. Pam, help me out.
Perhaps we'll look more into that.
Yeah.
How about
Look,
that?
I'm just saying, get a mortgage.
Thank you. Yes, for that plug.
Okay, all right. So you're in the FICO world, the credit world. You're becoming an expert on that. Did you have any indication while you were doing that, or when did you? Because eventually it did happen.
Yes.
That you were getting to become a loan officer.
Yes. So I think again, money was great, and but now it's taking more time away from my friends and family, and so. The whole living in a hotel and being a road warrior wasn't cutting it, and so during my time, during the years, a lot of, not so much the agents, but more of the loan officers just thought, oh my gosh, you need to get your license. You would be ideal, in this industry. And I just thought, well, I mean, why not? Because I thirst for knowledge. I always want to educate myself. I continue to grow and learn. So it took a little convincing, but I finally did it. So I got my license. I didn't do anything with it yet. And then here I'm still doing the credit thing, but then come to find out it's a conflict of interest. You can't be in credit restoration and be an active loan officer. It's a RESPA violation. We cannot be charging people to that's where I think the lines get a little blurred.
But you have this knowledge now, and you don't have to charge for it, but it can help you.
There you go. Yes, you're already 10 steps ahead.
Yep.
So I went back from my final trip on the road to my CEO of the credit repair company, Credit Restoration, and I said, here's what I'm thinking. I think I want to move. I really started gravitating to Florida. I fell in love with Florida. It's just like, I was in Colorado for 20 years. 2 of those years were in Alaska, but that's a whole different thing. So I go back to my CEO, and I'm like, I love Florida. I see myself in Florida. I want to be in Florida. He said, Pamela, he was from England, Pamela, you will pitch me why I should allow you to move to Florida. We're in sales, mind you.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I'm like, all right.
Let me.
I'm like, I'm not doing this on the fly. Just give me a day.
Yeah.
And so I went into his office, boom, 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 nailed all the points, and he's like, pack it up.
Wow.
And they actually moved me. It was like a month later or whatever, moved me to Florida. And so still doing the credit thing, but I was getting burnt out. It was just,
Because you're still traveling now, just in a different region?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it was more, what's next? I'm kind of, I don't want to say regurgitating the same stuff, but it's like, okay, I'm again hitting my ceiling. So then I thought it's time to move into the loan originator arena.
Yeah.
And so here I am.
Okay, so that's how you got to Florida. I'm just curious, this is like off a little bit, but how did that company make money?
The credit company?
Yeah.
Because to enroll a client who truly needed and wanted credit restoration, restoring their credit, there was a fee.
Okay.
Yes. And it was a legitimate company. There are so many credit repair companies out there that are not legitimate, and this company, hands down, is certifiably the best out there. Like, I will even, to this day, I will refer, because again, I can't technically work. I can coach and mentor, but I can't physically work on, like, I can't send dispute letters. I can't call these creditors and negotiate.
No, you're not getting paid for that.
Right.
Yeah.
So I will refer people to this company.
Got it. Okay. So now you're in the loan world.
I am.
In Florida.
Yes.
Sunny, bright Florida. And so do you feel like you haven't hit a ceiling there yet?
I have not.
There's not a ceiling?
No.
Is there a ceiling?
Not that I have found yet.
Tell me why.
Because everything is evolving and changing, and whether it's the market, the rates, the programs, the type of buyers that we have, it's using my brain. It's like literally it's a mystery that we have to solve.
You're continuously problem solving.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm passionate about, problem solving and educating, as long as
So
the
let's
buyers...
get to the real meat and potatoes. We've seen a shift in the last 3 years where rates were practically zero, less than 4%.
Right.
And now we're touching sevens.
Yes.
And so how has that changed your conversation with buyers? Because the qualifying power is now, 38 to 40% more in terms of income that's needed?
It is, yeah. So just stricter guidelines. Again, things are changing all the time. But that conversation, to me, it's like even if the buyer isn't ready. I mean, people are buying for various reasons. They're moving. They need to get into a home or divorce. Unfortunately, they need a home. So just having that initial conversation to find out what are their needs, their goals, and the rate conversation truly isn't their top concern.
Because you're dealing with people now that need to move.
Exactly. But we do have the conversation. Hey, rates, they are what they are, but we can maybe get a seller concession and use that to buy down the interest rate. There are programs, the 2-1 buy down. There's so many different things that we can tap into that it's like, here is a roadmap for, I think, what would work best. Let's compare it with some other things that make sense for that buyer, and just putting their fears at ease.
Yeah. I know, because I think by now we thought that rates, we would have felt a little easement on.
Yes.
Right? We all thought that.
We all thought that.
We really did. And this is where we can't say, we do not have a crystal ball.
No.
And what happens on a federal level that influences all this is beyond our control.
Right. And one thing that a lot of people in our industry, and obviously consumers, because they don't know, they think the Fed rates directly dictate mortgage rates, which is not. It's
what do you mean, Pam? The rates are the rates.
So here's what we have seen is when Fed, they'll cut the rate by a quarter, half, whatever. We in the mortgage world initially see a dip in the rate, but it's not directly tied to the Fed, cutting rates. What it's tied to is inflation. It's tied to the bond market. It's tied to the 10-year it's stocks. So those things, that is why, the rates. So when inflation goes up, everybody brace yourself, and they pull their money from the stock market, put in a safe place in the bond market where it just sits. So that's why, for over a year now, what's the interest rate today? What's it? Well, today at this minute, but in an hour, it could be something else. So.
Yeah, they are fluctuating a little bit here recently. The rates are crazy. They're not crazy. If you look at an average, right, over the last 30 years, we're right there over a 30-year average, and that's because rates in the 80s were 13%.
Oh my gosh, exactly.
I can't even imagine that. Maybe.
Yes.
Right, but it's it definitely is interesting, and I'm curious to see what happens to the overall market, because the home prices are coming down now.
Yes.
So if the Fed's mission was to cut home prices, it's working.
Right.
But the average, tell me if you're seeing this, the average home buyer now is 38 years old.
That seems about right.
Which is crazy. So first-time home buyers are really stuck. Right? So what can a first-time home buyer, they've never purchased a home, what can they do right now?
As far as
should they save more money?
Not necessarily. So let's break this down. So I do have a lot of 20-year-old, in that age bracket who want to get into the market, and they're still looking ways that they can utilize and leverage other people's money by, let's get a duplex, and then, which makes sense. I do think, and then the 30-year-olds, they've saved. Most of them have some sort of a retirement 401k, which they don't necessarily want to touch, but they will. But as a first-time home buyer with good credit, they can put as little as 3% down. So that misconception, oh my gosh, I've got to bring all this, 20%. The other thing I'm seeing a lot, family members are gifting their kids.
Big generational wealth shift is happening.
It is.
Yes,
It
the
is.
boomers are
Yes.
out there and they're ready.
Yes.
They got deep pockets. Come on,
Exactly.
Grandma, help me out.
Yep. Get me started. Give me that.
Yeah. Well, we know real estate's a great way to build wealth, and I do like the duplex play for people because it really helps offset.
It does. One thing, though, that I found that has been more challenging just in this short period, in 2025, is that buyers are shopping more. Obviously, it's a buyer's market, so they're not really in a rush, okay? So that buyer that I had maybe last year or 2 years ago that, like, we're closing deals 30 days, 45, it's a quick turnaround. Now it's like 3 months. 9 months. So those relationships, it is imperative that connection that you just maintain.
Yeah, because what if they go to Rocket Mortgage?
Exactly.
And so why does someone not want to do that? What's the difference between you and Rocket Mortgage?
Okay, hands down, white glove service. And I don't want to sound cliche, but I'll give you an example. I had an agent from our office actually pop in a couple weeks ago to my office. And he said, do you offer such and such loan? And I said, at this time, we don't, because it's not beneficial for us to carry that loan. He goes, well, I have another lender who's like the Walmart of loan products. And I go, I'm not Walmart. Even though Walmart is fantastic for
everyday low prices.
Right? I'm not Walmart. And so I think that he got the point. But the other thing, the way I kind of like look at it is I took my Lexus to get serviced. And I was thinking, I'm like, this is my first luxury vehicle. Like, I don't spend money on myself. I'm very frugal, okay? So when the type of how I was treated was amazing experience. That experience, like, it has, like, definitely lasted. So I'm thinking, well, but what is Lexus? Okay, so it's Toyota. Toyota's good, but Lexus is exceptional. I'm the Lexus of mortgage. I'm not Rocket Mortgage. Rocket Mortgage is a Walmart.
We'll dive more into that. But do you know how Lexus got its name?
I don't.
Okay, so Toyota is a Japanese company.
Yes.
Okay, and they knew that their cars, Toyota, they needed a luxury brand.
Okay.
So look at the word Lexus. Luxury US.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that funny?
That is funny.
Yep. It's literally the word luxury with the US. There's their luxury US brand.
Oh my gosh. I never knew that.
No, but Lexus is great, but they do have white glove service. But just wanted to throw that little thing in there.
Yeah.
So but people going to, I always advise never when I hear people, I'm going to go to my bank or their credit union or I'm going to Rocket Mortgage. Oh my goodness, I want to bang my head against a wall.
Yes.
Because those people, what's the difference? Those closers, they work 9 to 5.
Yeah. They don't work weekends.
They don't work weekends. They're not picking up their phone. And they really don't care if your loan closes.
They do not care.
They do not care.
And so we hear all the grievances and the headaches, yet you still will have that buyer where, hey, I can get, a less
Save
interest.
$50.
Yeah. And so even when you break it down for them, they are so connected or tied to that financial institution. And I don't blame, of course, they have to do what they feel is right for them.
It's a pain in the ass, though.
It is.
It's a pain in the ass.
So I've changed kind of my conversations I'm now having with buyers because in this climate, my time is valuable. And when I first started out, I was at their beck and call. I had this one customer who, for over a year, look up this property, give me the number breakdown for that property. It's like 10 p.m. at night, it's 6:30 in the morning, not realizing this is not going anywhere.
Right.
And so now I'm at a point in my career where it's like, I've got boundaries.
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. You got to have them.
Yeah.
You got to have them. Yeah, no, it's a pain in the ass to work with them big banks. When I bought my first house, I'm in the military, and I'm banking with USAA. I'm bashing you right now, USAA. And was trying to do I don't know. I didn't know left from right. My friends are buying houses. I'm going to buy a house. I'm trying to fill out the mortgage thing online. I'm taking calls and doing work. And it was a pain in the ass. Kept saying, no, you're not qualified for this. No. I finally had a good realtor who I think maybe influenced me a little bit into getting into this business. I said, oh, no, you need to talk to so-and-so. This was up in the Panhandle. Easy breezy, beautiful experience. I had no issues. Where I was racking my head on the phone for weeks with USAA trying to get a loan.
Yes.
And then I found somebody like yourself that just took care of it.
Right.
Got it done. It wasn't even a question. Oh, no, she ran my numbers. Oh, no, you'll be fine.
Right. I can't tell you how many times that a buyer will start with me, then maybe kind of like veer off, go with their bank, and then they're not getting anywhere, and then they come back to me and go, will you take me back?
Bam, they always come back.
With open arms.
They always come back.
Yes. But now, like I was mentioning earlier, the conversation is different. So if I have an idea, I want to know if a buyer is planning on shopping me. It's like, get all your quotes up front, then come to me, because I want to make sure that we're comparing apples to apples. There are so many companies out there that will hide points where it's like, oh, I can get you, a better rate than, ABC Mortgage down the road. But what the consumer doesn't realize, that's going to cost you $8,000. So I'm like, let me see the loan estimate. I'll compare, and I'll make sure that they aren't hiding fees.
Well, because, at the end of the day, all these mortgages are getting sold off.
They are.
To the same companies.
Right.
Right? So it's like, it really comes down to person and
it is
who's taking care of you.
Yeah.
Like, you can only skin a cat so many ways.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
I really don't like that analogy, but that's the one that came to mind.
And I'm a cat lover.
Sorry.
So,
I my sister has cats. I don't know why I thought that. Why is that a line?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Let's delete that.
You know what's, oh my God.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I keep it real. That was the first thought.
Yeah.
But there's only so many ways you can cut an orange.
There you go.
Right? There's some
Slice an apple.
Slice an apple. Do all the things that those guys are boxing those up. Can you imagine what it was like? Because I'm guessing you weren't in the mortgage industry in 2004.
No.
When it was the Wild Wild West.
No.
I've talked with some of our agents who've been around for 30 years in the business, and man, what were they calling those loans? They were like, weren't even bank income.
Stated.
Pretty much, if you had a pulse and you had a job, just prove you had employment.
Right. It's like, Ryan, how much do you make? Oh,
yeah,
200,000. Great.
Right. Yeah.
All right, what's your credit score?
Yep.
Oh, 800. Great. You get a loan.
You get a loan, and you get a loan. Oh my goodness, what a time! I can't imagine what that was like.
Incredible.
Some of those but the movies that are based off of that time, and when they were doing the background, like, what do you mean you have 3 houses?
Right.
Oh
my gosh, exactly.
It is good that we have regulation now, because that was tragic.
It is good, and I'm very, grateful how it is. It does make the process a little bit more challenging and daunting for that buyer. So as long as, and I always do, set proper expectations up front, then it's been
No, they're going to ask
helpful.
for your blood type almost.
Yeah,
right.
for real.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They almost want. I can't believe that they don't make you take out a life. What's the death policy? This is so random. What happens if how does the bank get money? I know it goes to probate and all that. They take over the house, I guess, right? I'm just thinking if the market's going down, that's risk that they're taking. I'm saying if you pass away. I can't believe that. What I'm getting at is I know restrictions are tight, that they don't make you take out a life insurance policy.
Oh, interesting.
To pay back the bank.
Yeah, that's never been brought up before.
Well, I'm good. That's
here
to
we
make
go.
sure it's not a thing, right?
Right.
But if I'm a bank and I want to make sure my assets protected in a declining market, why not?
Yeah, I see where you're going with that.
Yeah,
But
I don't know. My brain goes all over the place. I just got caffeinated.
that's what makes you so unique.
Yeah,
Right.
it does. It really does. What am I thinking today? I don't know. It's your world is so important. We couldn't do what we do without great people like you out there fighting good fight. And I always I tell agents, don't have the lending conversation.
Don't.
No,
Oh, yes.
get out of the way. You're gonna ruin it.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
Pam's highly trained in that specific arena.
Yes.
And yes.
What I try also to explain to the agents, have some knowledge,
Right.
but really when you start getting those heavy questions, defer to somebody you trust.
You know why I like being an agent? It really ties back. So being in the military, I was a crew chief on C-130, so a mechanic. But I
Okay.
was I knew a lot. I knew a little about a lot.
Okay.
And that's what agents are, right?
Yes.
We should know a little about a lot, and the
Okay.
minute you get too deep, I'm calling my specialist.
Okay.
Oh, we just did this inspection. We found we have an electrical issue. I'm calling the electrician.
Yes.
Oh, we're having an engine issue. Calling just
Yes.
at home, right?
I love that.
Like I can do the song and dance a little bit if I had to talk
Right.
to the pilots on what was going on, right?
Yes,
But they're
yeah.
like, hey, this issue's oh nope, calling the specialist.
Right. So as in the position you're in,
Mm-hmm.
if somebody broached you with a question that you didn't know, because I do feel like you and I are in alignment where it's like we do want to be this expert in our field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so we're specialists, right?
Right. Yeah.
So when we get outside of that, like,
I
do
stay
you-
in my lane.
Okay.
I quickly stay. I do not. If I the way I approach that is say I may know the answer,
Yes.
but let me bring in Pam or let me call the home. Let's just make sure.
And I love that.
Yeah.
And you don't feel like you
No.
lose credibility.
No.
Right.
Not at all.
That's great.
I feel like it's more credibility
Right.
because I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up your butt.
Yes. And then have to retract. Oops. So that just happened.
Yeah.
We're an
and I might
agent.
say, you know what? I'm 90% right, but I want to be 100.
Right.
So let me call somebody.
Well, let me share something. So not too long ago, an agent, we are under contract, and this particular agent misspoke and cost some money out of their pocket. So that's why we try to just
No, I don't do that.
No.
No.
Keep that
Stay out of
money
there. Stay
in your pocket.
Stay out of those. I don't get into the weeds on that. And I purposely, and in some areas, I purposely don't go any deeper, so that way I can't misspeak.
right.
It's the same reason I really don't read about politics,
Yeah,
because then I can't talk about it. You can be saying, I'm like, I don't know.
I know.
Right? I don't know. I only stay in my lane. What do I care about? I care about business news and technology news. The
Yeah.
only thing I care about.
What do you read?
I listen to a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. I open Google News.
Yes.
And I go to the business section and
Yeah.
I read through there. I go to the technology section. I read through there.
Yeah.
And if there's anything that catches my interest, I'll dive deeper.
I'm very similar.
Yeah, and then I will distract myself on things that don't matter. I'm really fascinated by science right now in the quantum world.
Okay.
So in my free time, I'm learning about quantum, which the more you learn about quantum, the more confusing it is. So like to that point of like no ceiling,
Okay.
it's like that like it's like a brain exercise for me, which is I don't know.
I don't know anything about quantum.
No, I don't. We don't even need to talk about it because
Yeah.
we will go down a whole black hole. But I'm just saying, in terms of like exercising my brain.
Yes.
And
So important.
In terms of you say you don't like when you hit a ceiling.
Right.
That's something like in the evening. That's like my wind down.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh wow! You would think it would get the
No, because
okay.
I want to still be stimulated.
Right.
I want to be learning, and to me, learning about how the universe works is fascinating because I found parallels in the like in our field of like focus on or like what you focus on expands, right? Well, if we had enough time and you could hang with me, I can explain how that works in the quantum world and why that's a real thing.
Okay.
So it's like we hear all these things,
Yeah.
and I want to know the science behind it.
Right. Right.
So I found it's in this weird place called quantum.
How did you even stumble upon that, or do you have like a group of friends that?
No.
Okay.
How did I initially get into that? I think it was more recently as I've gone down the AI rabbit hole.
Yes. So passionate about AI. I get it.
Well, because I like to look. I read this book by Morgan Housel called Same as Ever. It's really fascinating because it goes over history, financial markets, all the things, right?
Okay.
And it's same as ever. On the cover, it's the infinity sign, right?
Oh, yeah.
And because history continuously repeats itself, and it's the events are different, but the human behavior is the same.
Okay.
And so I'm looking at this of like, here's a disruptive technology. When's the last time that this really happened? We had social media, and the bigger one than that was the 99 to 2001.com era,
Yes,
right?
yes.
The email came into play. Everything's integrated on internet. Now you're like, and they're like, oh, one day everything in your house is going to be connected to the internet. You're like, haha, that's
Right.
neat. Now literally,
Guess what?
It is. I'm looking at AI the same way.
Yep.
Here's this big disruptor, and I'm in a different place, and I was a child,
Right.
right? And now I'm like, okay, what do I need to be paying attention to? How can I ride this wave and capitalize on it? Because I know it's going to be huge.
Yeah.
we're early.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
it's still those early days where there's going to be a lot of AI companies that pop up and that dissipate.
Right.
Don't do anything.
Right.
But so to bring from going down that rabbit hole led to, well, if you dovetail that with this quantum computing thing, I'm like, well, what's a quantum computer? How does it work? And then you start to go down that rabbit hole and you're like, oh, now I'm
my
listening to
gosh.
like old Einstein
Right.
things of like, yeah. So
It is
if you want to know what I'm
fascinating.
doing at 8:30 at night prior to going to bed, I'm down that rabbit hole. Yeah.
Are you pretty regimented on when you go to bed? And
I do my best, you know, but we have seasons.
yeah.
Right, we have seasons, and to say that I'm perfect, but there are times. And right now, I'm super locked in because I have this talk coming up on April 10th, and so I'm leaning back into my military discipline, not doing anything on the weekends,
Yeah.
just locked in. That's still going to bed early, waking up, doing
That's
all the
great.
things because when you start to have some success and fun, you want to let loose a little
Right,
bit, you know.
right.
And we live in a beautiful city.
I know.
And the one thing I love doing is bopping around town.
Yes.
You know, I love it. I meet up with friends. I'm going to dinner on a Friday night, and then hey, I'll bump into a friend. We're going here. We're going there.
Right.
But
That's one thing I told myself before I moved here is I always wanted to see Florida with those fresh eyes. I will never forget anytime I would travel from Colorado here, just how magnificent and that we truly live in paradise. And so I remind myself daily, I mean, this is really a magical place.
it's an incredible place,
Yeah.
and it is. You know, it's funny because I'll go, man, I haven't been to the beach in a while. I'm
Yeah.
like, you live 25 minutes from the beach. What are you
Yes.
doing?
Yes.
You know, or even I'll drive out there to look at, and I won't even like
I know.
where people travel and fly.
Yes. And
hours,
spend lots of money.
lots of money to just
Yeah.
put their toe in the sand.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so we're very lucky. We're very, very lucky, and it's a great place for people to come and hang out and start a life, and it's so welcoming. So how was that transition for you?
Moving to Florida.
And did you move here? What area did you move to?
So, Brandon, okay, sometimes I am a planner, but sometimes I fly by the seat of my pants.
I get it.
And
I get it. People
so-
think I'm so plain. I'm like, you have no idea how
Right.
much I shoot from the hip.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
right there with you.
Yeah.
So once that CEO gave me the stamp of approval and said, pack your bags, it was like, let's go, packed up. I mean, it just happened so quickly. So we actually landed outside of Tampa in Brandon. We were staying at an extended stay hotel, and I'm like, we need to find a place. So everything just lined up. I'm not going to bore you with like all the
Yep.
but I'm telling you, Ryan, that when you just kind of like just open yourself up and just let things like stop trying to control everything that's not in our control.
Right.
So found this perfect place in Palm Harbor, and everything fell into place.
That's incredible.
Found a guy who I've been dating,
Yeah,
with for
yeah. Well,
going on
yeah,
5 years.
Once
I'm just
you're
everything.
ready. Yeah, love that.
So-
So you make the drive from Palm Harbor.
I do.
Yeah. How long does that take you?
Depending on the time of day. So I try now. I pretty much have it down to a science, but it can take anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour and a half.
What?
Yes, yes.
I thought you were going to stop at an hour.
No. But man, I'll tell you what. I feel so blessed and fortunate, grateful to have found a place here at KW St. Pete because this is truly family. I've been in other brokerages. I won't name names, but there's nothing like this market
We do have
center.
something special here.
Yeah, we do.
We really do, and it's continuously getting better, I think.
Oh, it is. Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm really, I'm grateful. I'm extremely grateful. It's, being in this role, it takes a lot. We take a lot of punches.
Yes.
But
But you keep getting up.
we keep getting
show
up. You just let
Yeah.
that roll off.
So I'm a sensitive creature by nature, but I have learned that I don't want to say I've got tough skin now because I don't, but I'm getting better about not letting that negative chatter get to me and
It shows up,
it does.
right? And you gotta
Yeah.
push
Yep.
get out of here.
Exactly.
You don't belong here.
Yeah.
You don't belong here. Who invited you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I just love showing up to your classes and these different trainings because just that mindset and getting, staying aligned is so important.
That's super important. And I love what you said earlier, how you set your boundaries now. And this is important for customers to know because I just had an encounter with someone too who came off kind of bravado and this, that, or the other. And it's like, we don't need to work with you.
Yeah.
I think they come, and some do, but if you come from a place of desperation, you're not doing yourself any justice because you can actually earn respect by drawing the line, and people will change the minute they realize that they can't take advantage of you.
Agreed. Absolutely.
And I'm sure, like with yourself, when you put your boundaries in place, did your business go down?
No.
Probably went up.
No, it went up.
It's
Right.
it's like, wait, what? The opposite of what I thought. You know, it's the same thing I'm telling sellers right now. We are in a buyer's market. You need a price ahead of the market, and you'll actually get more money.
Right.
And it's some get it, some don't.
Right.
Some it's the reverse.
Yeah. Some people are just a little slower learners than others, and the trust factor, and just right.
Well, and I'll take the responsibility when they don't, because I'm like, well, what's one of my famous line in the brokerage is, did I explain that well? And I go, well, maybe I didn't explain it well.
Okay.
You know, I'll always take the blame.
You know what is so interesting is, for as long as we've been doing this, every conversation is different, and so I find myself asking that same thing. Did I explain myself? You know, just be, you know, do you know what I mean? Kind of what I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you don't know the prior knowledge that someone has, right? And in your world, like, I feel like you have maybe the hardest, most intricate part of a real estate purchase. You do. Like, as an agent, yeah, we have to hold it together and get all the right people in place, but nothing happens unless the person's paying in cash if they can't get their loan.
Right. Right.
Nothing else matters. The inspection doesn't matter. The appraisal is a part of your process. Right. You know, the negotiation, who's keeping the couch or the whatever. Right. Nothing matters.
Right.
If that part doesn't happen. So your P's and Q's need to be.
And that's why, I mean, I am so grateful for my team, because I am just one piece of everything that goes on behind the scenes. Right. And it's it's pretty intense. And I think that's part of, I mean, I'm kind of a thrill seeker a little bit. So, I mean, just knowing, oh my gosh, you know, any deal can go sideways at any moment. But again, as long as, you know, you've got your team helping out and you're setting proper expectations and you've got that communication, I feel like there's always a solution. Yeah.
I know we don't have a crystal ball, but in your world, what's the conversation about the future?
With rates, that we see what the new administration is trying to do and making those changes, and not to get political. However, if you look at history, you look, 5-10 years, the word on the street is that the rates are going to get better. Okay. We'll keep our fingers crossed. Yeah. I'm not going to say too much. No, I know. Well, it is tough because politics are involved in this conversation, and there are some beliefs of, because, and this is where, and Gary Keller does such a good job on stage of staying apolitical. Okay. He does a really good, I actually was really impressed with how he can just state the fact. Right. That because of and this was crazy, right? Because of the deportation, home prices will go up because construction costs will go up. Yes. Because 25% of the workforce are illegal. Right. Not political. That's just a fact. Right. That cost has to get spread to somebody. Right. He had a lot of other things that he said, and I was like, well, if we're just looking at it from an industry perspective, as an agent, you would be happy that the home prices go up. Right. Right. But, not for our buyers. So it is an interesting environment right now. So remember around the pandemic, and all of a sudden we couldn't get the supplies, and that's kind of the indication is that with the deportation and things like that, new construction, it's going to kind of come to a halt, whereas that was kind of the thing for a while, where buyers are like, hey, I can get so much more going new construction than so. Yeah, which we need homes. Inventory is going up, but we do need more homes. It's crazy out there. Our world is nuts. Right? Being in real estate. It is. Right? Yeah. It's getting real estate. It'll be fun. Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It's more than just pivoting. We're twirling, Ryan. We're twirling. We're doing everything out here just to help people, really. Right? We really do want to do the best for people. Absolutely. And we got to make money so we can help more people. Right. Yeah.
Pam, this has been fun. I feel like we
I
could go,
enjoyed
and I'm like
this.
trying to keep us like kind of on track with this whole Tampa Bay Unlocked, and keeping the industry because
Yes.
we could venture off on so many
Oh my
different
gosh,
rabbit
so many
holes.
different
Yeah.
conversations.
Yeah, for sure,
But I really appreciated this because I love peeling back the layers. I think you had said one time that surface conversation, it gets boring after a while.
Oh, it's repetitive.
And where it's like, I really want. I'm an empath, you know what that means. And so I pick up people's energy, and I've gravitated towards you. So just kind of getting to know you more on a personal level has been wonderful. So I've enjoyed this.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for being a bright light in the office.
Thank
Even
you.
with your 40-minute to hour and a half drive, you walk in here with a smile on your face every day.
I love it.
Yeah, so we're grateful for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're still with us, Pam, what's one word they should comment below?
One word. Smile.
Smile. Smile, everyone. Thank you. Like, share, comment, subscribe, tell a friend, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah. That was good.
Did I do okay?
Yeah, you did great.
Okay.
Yeah.